how should we describe the characters though? So we each made 3 characters. We gave ourselves 100 points. No character was allowed to exceed 36 points. No character was allowed to be under 32.
Yep.
I created an elf and 2 humans. Do you do anything other than humans?
Not mine are all humans.
I took the elf. My reason for taking the elf is they have a little bit faster movement speed. So I took that. So I've got my elf character actually has a movement rating of 14.
See, I went with having the. I sort of was thinking a similar thing. I wanted one character that was a bit faster at moving, but I didn't think of using the elf, to be honest. But yes. So kind of gone for, I guess you'll probably see in the combat comes out one slightly slower fighter and one slightly faster fighter, basically. Try and get some ability on the battlefield. But it'll be interesting to see the selection of spells. But yeah, it was kind of a mix of the kind of try to balance the party, for lack of a better word, out to try and get some sort of like aspects covered. So it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah. I'm judging based off of the character art that you've chosen. That, what's his name? So I have to scroll back in here again. Tanis the tank. It looks like he's carrying a spear or a ranged weapon. So I don't have anybody that's at range. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah. So Tanis is carrying a short sword, a spear. He's also got javelins with a spear thrower that he can use with it. So it'll be interesting to see how that pans out in the combat. But he's, as the name suggests, quite heavily armored. So basically, he's weighed down by armor. With the shields, actually chainmail. I think the picture is actually banded mail, but he is actually chainmail by the rules.
Whereas the characters I've got up there are pretty much armored as their picture is. So none of them are wearing any armor. They're all unarmored. The elf Varro is a dual wielding rapiers, and Arnold's got his great big bastard sword, two-handed bastard sword to swing, and then of course the mage doesn't have any armor because it's a mage. But
yes, I mean, I guess my other character is Darius, who's the sort of swashbuckler looking one there, has no armor either.
It's hard to put the armor on whenever you're trying to keep your decks up, eh?
Yeah, it is. And likewise, the wizard is also unarmored, but carrying a sword, interestingly. So, added to be a bit unconventional on that one.
I didn't think of using any of my intelligence points for throwing it towards like sword or something. That's a good point, because I didn't use all my intelligence. I have 8 spells on there, and I'm probably not going to use a quarter of them. It's
expensive because it costs what?
Double or triple?
Yeah, triple. Triple for talents for wizard, double for what is it the other way around? I can't remember that.
Yeah, so that would have ended up cost. Yeah, I think it's double for melee to learn spells and triple for spells to learn melee or something like that. So that would have been 6 of your intelligence just on the sword. Yeah. And Arnold has, because I was looking through the book and there was a boomerang. So there's a boomerang in play. It probably is not going to get drawn, but I was like, I can't not put a boomerang on him just because it's so ridiculous to say that.
I didn't see that in the rules, but yeah.
to see Arnold Schwarzenegger throwing a boomerang across the field, I was like, that's just, the visual on it's just hilarious. I don't think it's going to happen, but it'd be great if it did.
I'm the boomerang expert.
So, the other thing to call out, I guess, just because it'll come up on every turn. Varro has the tactics skill. Tactics gives us +1 on our init checks.
Yeah.
And has a weird ability that I can roll 5d6 versus my IQ, and if I pass it, you have to tell me everything you're going to do in your turn.
Well, it's one of those things, the tactics one, because I remembered in my head that there was a talent that did it, and then I never got around to looking at which one that was beforehand, and I thought, I'll be fine, I'll wing it without it. So we're interesting to see how much of a difference that makes. So it'll be quite good in a way, having one side that has it and one that doesn't.
Yeah, I just thought I needed all the benefit I could to getting down the field as fast as possible. But all right, so should we begin?
Yes, we can start.
All right, so I guess our first order of business is rolling a net. So I'll roll, and then we'll just manually add 1 to it because I'm too lazy to type out the thing. So I got a 5.
And I got a 4.
The little +1 comes into play
It
right
does.
away.
Yep.
All right. How far apart are we? I didn't even stop to look and see how far apart we are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
11 hexes, I want to say.
9, 10, 11. We're 11 apart. Varro is going to move 1, 2, 3, 4.
So bear in mind, if you initiative, you can make me move first as well if you want to.
Oh, that's an excellent point. That's an excellent point. Yes, you move first. I always forget that because you just assume that since you won, you have to go first. But yeah, that's a very good point.
You have the option in the rules that if you initiative, you can choose to make them move first. So it doesn't affect your combat later on. Okay, let me see then. So in this situation, Tanis, who is using Spiel Thrower, is not going to move. Darius, however, is going to move. I think the optimum place to move him to. So I'm going to shift forward 1 space. And that is going to be our movement for this turn, believe it or not.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I suddenly feel very uncomfortable that you were that comfortable staying back that far. All right. We're going to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6.
Yep.
6 hexes. And we'll choose the defend option.
Yep.
Declaring defend right away.
Yep.
And Arnold is going to move. Arnold has movement of 10. Arnold's going to move all the way up and behind him. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's more than half. He can't do anything this turn.
Yep.
And Dorko is going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Dorko is going to move 5 and possibly cast a spell. Do I have to fully declare whether I cast a spell or not?
I don't know if you do have to. You just I'm trying to remember. It says you have to declare the full thing. Probably do.
Okay. Then yeah,
can you cast your move half? I thought you can like shift to hex and cast spells. I might be wrong on that one though.
Oh yeah, you are right. He can only move 1 and cast. You are entirely right. So yeah, he's going to just move up that far then, and be done. That is the end of our movement.
Okay, so if you move into the combat phase, the question will then be whoever's got the highest adjusted dex. So my highest adjusted dex is 12.
Mine is 14, but all my characters are taking either defensive or can't do anything. So Varro's in the front, but she's taking a defensive posture. Arnold has 10 dex, but he's tapped out of his movement. He can't do anything else anyway. And Dorkel has dex of 11, and he's going to cast a spell, so that comes after. Anyhow,
no worries.
I believe. Or does casting happen before? I have to go back and check my.
No, it happens. It happens on the sort of initiative phase type thing, so it goes at your speed.
Okay.
Because you effectively make an attack roll with it with a dex. I mean, I know it's casting a spell, so it's an attack as such.
All right, so then nobody's engaged, so we've got the disengaged options. So,
well, Tanis was going to do a range attack because he has a spear thrower.
Okay.
So the spear thrower, if you've got the skill, it means it counts as a missile weapon, not a thrown weapon. So it is That's 3 megahexes away if he aims at Vara. So that's a -1, I want to say. They're doing defend, did you say?
Yeah, so you have to roll 3
4.
extra dice. Because I've got you get 2 extra dice because of my my two weapon fighting.
Yeah.
And 1 extra dice for Master Fencer.
That ain't gonna hit.
No, I don't think so. Man, any other game that would be an amazing roll on a 5d6.
Well, it should be 66. So it's 27. 27 is not less than there.
But I was a big dum-dum person because you miss with the first one, but your projectile keeps going, right?
It does.
So you now have to roll to see if you hit Arnold, right?
Is Turan defending? Did he was using defense as well?
Arnold, oh, sorry, Arnold was not. Arnold used movement, so he's just standing there like a dummy.
It's a normal 3d6, which that isn't going to be good enough either.
Okay, and then Dorkel might have his life ended right away.
Oops, only 3d6. Oh, that might hit actually.
That is 8. And how much damage is Dorkel taking from
so
my?
Just that, literally just hits. It was 8 needed to hit, and that was an 8. So with the spear, it's 1 damage. Javelin, I should say. It's 1d plus 1 damage. So
3
points of damage.
1, 2, 3. All right. I'll let you do it on the game if you wish. I just I've got my little character sheet beside me and just marked it off. But yeah, I should have thought about that before I lined everybody up in a straight line.
Well. I'd forgotten about it as well, to be honest.
But that's what I guess what we're doing this for, right? Is to show the rules. So yeah, spear comes flying through, misses, and then hits the Dorkel's just standing there like not even seeing it coming. Everybody else is taller than he is. And they all kind of weave out of the way and thunk.
He's the one at the back that goes like, why are they all dodging? Ow.
Oh crap. All right. Was anybody else on your side doing anything?
Not this round, no.
Okay. So Dorkel, after getting hit, there's no spell interruptions in this, is there? His spell doesn't get interrupted if he gets hit, I don't believe.
I don't think so. Seems to be remembering something about.
Yeah, so he'll cast his spell. Oh, sorry, no, we already said he can't because he moved more than 1 space. Never mind. That's silly.
Yeah.
All right. So I guess we go back to rolling a net again, right?
Yeah.
All right. So mine is 3.
And I get 4.
So would you like to move first, or would you like me to?
No, I'll let you declare a move first this turn.
All right. My movement first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we're going to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to here. And I just gotta change my facing hex so that those 3 hexes are my front facing.
Yeah, you're looking right at Tannis.
And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he still has his option to engage this turn. And he's facing the empty hex here that you may end up moving into. We'll see. And then 1. Yeah, we're just going to shift 1 hex and wait to cast a spell.
Yeah.
The intention is a attack from Fervaro and a defense for Arnold.
Okay. So Tannis will stay where he is, but he will turn and face there. Just going to do an attack since already engaged now.
And so I'm doing this attack and parry. So I My second weapon will act as a shield if I do get hit and stop
Yeah.
2 damage.
Darius is actually going to shift heat in between the two of them because the reason why I just explained to me watching this, if Vara tries to shift around to attack the wizard, they currently can't because they'd have to disengage because they're engaged by both of those, which means that you can't shift to the side towards Tanis without doing a disengage maneuver because you're moving out of engagement with Darius, if that makes sense.
You've also moved yourself into engage with Arnold. With
Arnold, yes. Toran, he's not a tall Conan whatsoever.
No, not at all.
Right. But they're going to attack Arnie. And my wizard is going to step actually behind Tanis, and they're casting a spell this turn as well. So that's movement done. Okay. So we start heading to adjusted decks. And you had a 14, so you're going to go first, which is Vara.
Yeah, so Vara is going to attack with the rapier. She's doing a normal attack with a parry. So like I said, if she does get hit later on, she basically has a 2-point shield. So we'll roll 3 dice and see if we can get below 14.
Wow. Yes.
Which we do. And she does 1d6 plus 2. So 7 damage.
So with the armor and the shield, they have a DR of 5, so they basically have 5 armor, so only 2 get through.
All right, so 2 damage to you.
That's gone. Perfect. Yep, so Tanis takes 2 damage. Not into them yet. So my next high speed is 12. You got anyone higher than 12?
I do not. No.
So Darius is going to try and use the saber on Arnie.
Okay. So Arnie's defending, so you have to roll 1 extra dice, I believe, right?
Yeah. So it's 4 dice. Trying to get less than 12.
Oh, there you go.
So it hits. So saber does 2d minus 1 damage.
Okay.
Which is 5 points of damage.
Okay, and Arnie has toughness, so it's 4 points of damage to Arnie. 2, 3, 4.
Because of dex penalties yet.
Yeah, almost dex, not quite.
Yep.
All right.
So my next highest speed is 11.
Which is
just a dex.
Which is the same as Dorkle. They both have 11. So we go by the initiative, so that you won the initiative. So
mine is Slavius the Sneaky, who is going to attempt to cast a spell. Which I shall roll it first and tell you which they fail actually to cast a spell.
So it's 1 point of fatigue for the failure, right?
1 point of fatigue. Yep. So down to 9 HP effectively. So
all right.
That wasn't ours.
And Dorkle is also going to attempt to cast a spell. So let's see how this works.
Ooh, nice.
That one succeeds. I'll need a temporary token if you're able to provide one. He is casting Staff to Snake. So his staff turns into a snake and is going to appear 1 megahex away.
I don't know any snakes yet. Have a wolf instead to pretend it's a snake.
Fine. Yeah, we can pretend it's a snake. It's got the snake has. Oh, why did I not write that down? I just have to look at the spell. I think it's like 8 health or something on the snake. I saw this. I was like, "This is cool" because it's there's no upkeep cost to this spell. This is the best part about this. Where is it? Staff to Snake. Oh, I'm still in talents, not spells. Because yeah, I wanted to go with a wolf or something, but I was like, I don't have enough what you call it. So yeah, it's got 8 strength, and its dex is 13, and it's got a movement of 6. And anybody who goes to attack to it takes a -3 on their dex to hit it because it's a slithery, slimy snake.
What dex do you say it had?
It has a dex of 13, and anybody attacking it takes -3 to their dex. And so I can cast up to 1 megahex away.
Yeah, you're gonna let you see if I give you ownership to move it.
Oh yeah.
Can you move it now?
Let's see. Yep. And so I'm going to bring him right down to here.
Yep.
And
I was casting a what do they call it? Conjuring spell, isn't it, as well?
oh, and I guess I gotta mark down. That was staff to snake. It costs 1, so Dorkel takes an additional point for that. All right. Is that the end of this round?
No, I've got anyone speed 10 or lower, so I think Arnie goes next.
Oh,
He's able
right.
to- Was he
But
taking a defend action, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was taking a defend action. So
then Tanis goes next, so he's going to try and take. Well, actually, no, he has to take an action to ready a new weapon because he's using the javelin with the spear thrower. So their action this turn is to get the sword out, basically. So yes, that is the end of that turn.
okay. All right. So we'll roll a net again. I got a 3. You got a 5. You got it.
Okay. So
I was like, "Where's my roll?" And it came up with snake. I'm like, "Oh yeah," because
yes, yeah, it's an annoying habit if you don't
click off, yeah.
Yeah. Right. Do I want to go first? I don't want to let you go first. I will let you move first this turn.
Okay. All right. So for my movement this turn, so your front 3 hexes for
Darius.
the
that one, and that one. So basically, the
Okay,
2 fighters and the one with the snakes kind of just in front of. So you're going to shift to the side. Yeah.
So he's going to shift to the
Yep.
side here. And the snake can now move. He's got a movement rate of 6, so he can move 3 without any major penalty. So he's just going to move to here. And I think Vara is going to stay where she's at. She's not going to shift or anything. Dorkel is going to. I don't want to do anything with Dorkel. Yeah, Dorkel's going to move forward 1 and reserve the right to cast. So your turn to move.
Darius is going to shift slightly to keep Arnie in the front arc, which now means that Vara's in the side.
Yeah.
See, Tanis is going to stay where they are. And the wizard's also going to stay where he is, but he's casting a spell. So those 2 are fighting in that position.
Okay.
So we go back to adjusted deck. So Vara goes first.
So Vara is going to do she's going to do the attack with parry, but the attack she's going to do it as a thrust. Okay. So she's going to lose 3 on her dex for it. She still gets the reduce 2 damage should she get hit later on, but she's going to do a roll for -3 dex, so she has to get below 11 on this one. She does not. Darn it. So Vara does not do anything this turn. I guess at this point she swung and missed with a deep thrust.
So Darius is going to take a swing at Arnie. 12 or less, so it's going to hit. 9. Was he defending? Was he attacking this round?
No, he's going to be attacking this round.
Yeah. So just straight damage.
Yeah, -1 for his toughness.
Yeah.
Oof. 4 damage to Arnie. 1, 2, 3, 4. At least it's not 1 to minus dex. And so next one up would be Arnie, right? Arnie's got the. Oh, sorry, no. I guess next up is Dorkel with 11.
Yeah, but my wizard goes first, isn't he? So,
oh yeah, because you won the initiative. That's right.
So Slavius is going to try to cast that same spell again, and the dice cards are shining on me this time. So he is also summoning. And let me double check actually my fatigue on this one. As he makes, I do have the counter for this one, I guess I was going to use it. A bear appears nicely behind Arnie.
Oh, nice. Bear can't do anything until next turn, but
Yep.
that's not a great situation for Arnie. All right.
He's been in worse scrapes. He'll be fine. Just take off my HP on that one.
All right. Dorkle is going to fire Mage Fist. So what's the rule for casting for missile? If it's 1 megahex away, if it's 3 to 4 megahexes away, then it's
-1.
But we're not. So it's for me to hit the first person, it's fine. Actually, no, for all of them, it's fine, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to go straight down the line. If I miss your first character, I'm going for the tank and behind. I'm going to do it with 2 points of spell casting. So first, let's see if it's even possible to do. So it's 3. We have to get below. Oh, that hits for sure. You have to get below 11. So he casts. It's going to hit there, and he does 1d6 -2 for each point. So it's going to be 2d6 -4, right?
Yep.
So that is 7 points of damage to your front person there.
Right, so he is now on -5 altogether, because he's now on 3 hit points. So basically,
he took a massive amount of damage and is now low on hit points, right?
Yeah. So he has a double penalty at the moment for taking the massive amounts of damage and also for dropping down to 3 hit points, which is low hit points for them.
We actually missed the snake who had Dex 13.
Oh, okay.
Because the snake gets his turn this turn.
Go on, snake.
So snake is going to try to attack that same character.
Yeah.
What is the snake's damage if he does? Oh, it's 1 die. Okay, so if he manages to hit, he does 1 die. So under 13.
Oh,
it's good. 1 damage.
11.
5.
Oof. Bye-bye. So Darius.
Or Darius falls.
Yep. Swashbuckling days are over, Darius. Oops. So there's an effect against the comic. I'll leave them like that to mark they're dead. So they're dead on the ground.
Right. That kind of sucks for Arnie, though. He was going to take that swing at that guy.
Yeah.
All right. So whose turn does it go to now?
It's Arnie's turn, I think, next.
Yeah. So and Arnie's got nobody to swing at now.
Yeah.
And so then it goes down to the tank's turn.
Yeah. So Tanis is going to take a swing.
Okay.
What's your fighter defending? That's going to miss, actually, on a 10.
Oh, darn. Well, I mean, darn for you. Good for me.
Yeah. So that is the end of my turn. End of your turn, I think, as well.
And yeah, Arnie can't go, so we re-roll again for initiative.
Yeah.
6.
Can't be. Oh, can equal it to re-roll.
Oh,
so yeah, this is one of the things that came up when I was talking about it, was the fact that it doesn't really say in the rules what happens if you roll simultaneous, but you do need to roll it off, don't you? Because it determines combat and everything
exactly
else.
It's the tiebreaker in the combat. So 5. All right, one more.
We'll try again.
5.
Come on, dice, don't let me down. Yes, 6. How not to die in this combat? Well, I'm going to make you move first this time as well, for tactical reasons.
All right. So I'm not technically engaged right now because you're behind me. Right? I'm not engaged with you. You're engaged with me. Or sorry, no, I guess I'm engaged.
Yeah, Arnie's engaged, but the bear's not. So
right,
the bear can move freely if it wanted to, but it doesn't want to. It wants to keep you pinned. But Arnie needs to move as if he is engaged, yes.
Yeah, so Arnie's going to spin to do that.
Yep.
What's the penalty for moving through dead bodies again? Is it?
There's a movement allowance penalty. I know you can jump over it for -3. I don't know what it is to step into the space. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, because I want to have the snake move through there, but I don't know. Where's the consult thy old rule book? Movement 103. Moving on to other figures. Yeah, it's a -3 to move through a dead body. Wow, that sucks.
That's to go over it, though, I think, isn't it? Jump over a fallen unconscious dead body, it costs the 3 MA, but that moves you onto the hex across it, I think. It does say a figure may never move through stunning any other figure. A figure move into a hex with fallen unconscious dead figure and stop it. So you can
All right, well, the
hex and
snake.
stop.
So if it's 3 just to get over it, then I'm going to move over here. And so we're saying that took 3 movement for the snake?
Yeah, that's 3 movement to do that.
Okay, and the snake is going to be, I guess I never had the snake facing properly because I just didn't. The snake is going to face towards your mage.
Yes.
And I think Vara is going to stay right where she's at. And Dorkel is going to again move forward 1 hex. And that's the end of my movement.
Okay. Well,
you don't have a lot of options.
Yeah, well, Tannis is going to.
Oh, actually, don't forget to take your strength adjustment for keeping your bear up.
Yeah, no, I've done that yet.
Okay.
He's getting weaker. But Wizard's dying without actually doing anything. So Tannis shifts a bit round to fight. The bear is gonna. The bear is actually gonna shift there.
Okay.
He's gonna pin the snake a bit there. You might still attack Arnold anyway. Flavius is going to actually cast a spell where he is if he survives long enough, because the snake does get to go first. Yeah, that's
right,
it.
Okay, so first one is Varro with her 14 dex.
Yeah.
She is going to again do the same thing where she's going to try to do a thrust while also doing the parry in case she goes to get hit. So this is for 11 dex. Nice. So she rolls 1d6 plus 2 is her normal rapier, and then she gets an additional 1d6 plus 2. So it's basically only roll 2d and add 4.
You're 1 away from double damage there.
So that is 11 damage going to the tank.
5, 6. So he is now also on -5 this turn.
So he's lost enough dexterity to, or health to hurt his dexterity.
So he's very unlikely to hit anyone. Otherwise, we saw last time I run it. It's still possible.
Perfect stuff. And
Snake
then
goes next.
Snake goes next. So 3d6 to try to be 13.
11 will do.
11 and one dice of damage to the wizard.
Oh
yeah.
The 6. Wow, that wizard goes down then.
So the bear disappears too then, right?
Yeah. I think the bear's there to the end of the turn. It's to the end of the turn when you die.
Oh yes, yeah. So the bear will get an attack on whoever he chooses to attack.
It's like kind of little possible.
All right, so that is up to dexterity 13, so 12.
My 12 guy's dead.
11, I've got Dorkel and you've got
the bear.
The bear, okay, and you won a nit, so
yeah, bear's going to go first, and it's going to try and claw at Arnie. It fails. It misses. Right. Bye, bear.
And then bear disappears from the field magically.
Rubbish bear. Okay, it's Dorkel's turn now. Is it?
And Dorkel is going to cast Mage Fist down at the tank.
Yep.
Again with 2 points. So rolling 3 has to get below 11. Which he does.
Okay, roll some damage.
And so that's going to be 2 dice minus 4. So 3 points, probably blocks it all.
Yeah. Armor absorbs all the damage from that one. And now it's his turn to do one last attempt. So he needs a 4. A 4 to hit. He's not aiming for the stake, so he misses on a 10.
All right.
So last round of combat.
Quite possibly last round of combat.
So hey, got a 6 from initiative roll.
I got a 7.
I'm
going to make you move first.
just gonna stand and fight because I can't do much else.
Yeah, kind of figured. All right, so Snake is going to adjust and turn to look. Oops, that's not the snake I'm clicking on. Snake is going to turn and stare right at you. Arnie is going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because he's got 10 movement, right? Yes, he does. So Arnie's going to move all the way around to here. So, yeah, depending on where you're kind of get hosed here, and you're.
Yep. It's nice. I'm getting attacked by 3 people, and there's still nice line of sight for your major spells as well.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And the mage is going to step forward one little step, and that's the end of movement. All right,
so Vara goes first.
Vara goes first. She's now she's got lots of health. She's going to attack twice. She's not going to bother trying to defend at all. She smells blood. So the first one is going to be just 3d6 is a normal attack. Trying to get below 14. That one's going to hit. The second one is at -4 dex. So I was going to roll this one to see if it hits as well. So I have to get below a 10 or 10 or below.
No.
Oh, that does not. All right. So the first one hit, and that is 1d6 plus 2. So 6 damage.
So 1 gets through. Still standing.
Still standing.
Managed to like skirt the crit. You managed to get a 5 and then a 16. It's like you managed to get automatic hit and automatic miss, but no like dropping your weapons and no double damages. So next is Snake, I believe, with the dex of 13.
Oh yes, yeah, dex of 13. He hits 1 dice of damage. Probably gonna get blocked. Oh, 6 damage.
The snake's just like murdering. I think he's rolled maximum damage every single time you roll that snake. You know.
So Snake gets through with 1 damage.
He does.
Chops.
And he's still standing. Don't call Tannis a tank for nothing, you know.
And then next up would be, is it Dorkel with 11?
Let me just double check. Yeah, it is.
All right, so Dorkel is going to cast Mage Fist again. For 2. So 3d6, trying to get below 11. He does.
Oof.
So that's 2d6 here. 2d6 minus 4. 3 points of damage. He eats it all.
Yep, it's going to hit his armor again.
Dorkel is now down to 3. I shouldn't have done that. He's now down to 3 health. So Dorkel is going to probably not cast anything else for a little bit.
And Arnie gets to go last. I think Arnie might be doing the finishing move here. We'll see.
Oh yeah, because I won the init, right? Yeah. So Arnie is going to swing with his bastard sword. If he hits, this probably will definitely end it. He has to get below a 10.
Oof.
And no, it's a 12.
Okay. Substitution time for Tannis.
Don't call it a comeback, right? Like he's
can take a swing at Vara.
Okay.
That's going to miss anyway. So 1 at 11.
All right. That's true. So he survives another round.
Yeah, he does.
He's living up to his name.
Well, yes, because it was.
Well, or actually, I didn't think one thing that we didn't do right there. Arnold would have had an advantage, right? Because he's attacking from the side.
Oh yeah, he would just wait 10 specs. Yes, he would have.
So what would the hit been? So Arnold had to get a 10 or below. What's the bonus from the side?
I'd say it's 2.
Is it 2? This is where we if we knew the
You need the melee hand to chart.
oh, I've got the freaking GM screen like next to me.
Yeah.
That's a good call. Because the GM screen has that on the chart. Why didn't I have that up?
I've got the physical GM screen. I'm very jealous.
Yes. Or I thought the GM screen had the chart. It does not, though. So if you're able to find it too, let me know. I'm just checking here.
Striking him out from the side +2. Yeah.
+2. So yeah, he would have hit with his 10 then.
Go on,
He
then,
got the 10 dead on. And then pretty much anything he rolls, because he has his his bastard sword is 3d6 -1. So he would have done
17. So 16. So only
16.
11. Only 11 gets through. Well, he got someone to -10. So yeah,
choppity chop.
and he finishes it off in dramatic style. There you go. And you're worried you were going to lose.
I was. I think I got very lucky with things like the snake and your first cast not going
I know,
through.
yeah. That bear was going to try and pin him at the back then. I was like, no. It made me laugh because you were casting to exactly the same thing I was thinking. I was thinking the same thing here. Let's get a creature out there to help pin people down. Get extra attacks in there.
Exactly. But it definitely is nicer having. So I tried to do a wizard versus wizard battle solo before, and that I found was just a little bit. I don't know if you can get the first shot off in a wizard versus wizard fight, it feels like you win.
Yeah,
because the health is so low.
Yeah.
So it was a little bit boring. Having it this way though, with a mix of fighters and magic casters, it was good. So yeah, if we were going to do it differently again, what do you think we would do different?
Well, I think for me, I definitely tried looking more at those defensive actions because you were definitely owning the own defensive capabilities that your characters had. And I was thinking, I didn't remember half those rules. So I think that was definitely.
So I'll tell you what I had for the character builds anyhow. So Varro had Fencer 3, which grants dual weapon fighting. She had sword, obviously, because she needed it. She had Master Fencer. And then I gave her a bunch of unarmed combat stuff. So in case you had spells like throw down my weapon or something, she was going to be able to like throw your character if she lost her weapons. Arnold just had sword, thrown weapons so that he could use his daggers and a boomerang, and toughness was his things. And then Dorkel had staff to snake, which turned out to be clutch. Turn missile, which I probably should have cast right at the beginning when I saw your guy had a spear, and I just never thought of it again. He had speed movement, which I didn't end up casting. Again, should have been something I probably cast in the first turn. Blur, which I didn't use. Fire, which I couldn't get close enough to really do properly. I was surprised you didn't have fire, to be honest.
I have got 3 hex fire, yeah. So, but one of the things I had for Slavius, one of the things he has things like unnoticeability and darkness and shadow. And the idea is that I was thinking that if I needed to, I might make him sneak around and basically stab someone from behind, basically becoming invisible. But sadly, the opportunity didn't arise. Because the plan was to try and get the bear and the fast swashbuckler, basically try and pin your fighters down so that he can then sneak around basically and try and help get into it. Sounds weird, maybe getting those into the melee, but the idea was try and get them a bit, use them a bit more to tactical advantage. I just had him hiding at the back and getting picked off by someone. But sadly, the plan didn't pan out.
So what did your guys have? So that was mine.
So mostly it was all fighter skills. I did have where's it gone? So one of the things that Darius had as well as like the weapon skills was also acute hearing and alertness, because they're quite good at disbelieving illusions, because I didn't know whether we have a lot of illusions kicking around. So I thought I'd have someone that might be quite good at picking those up. But I didn't think about the fencer ones. See, the IQs are a bit low for my characters. I'll try to bump them up. So Tanis basically had shield expertise to give him extra damage resistance. He's got a small shield, but he gets 2 basically because he's got shield expertise. There was spear thrower, so basically you could use a spear thrower to throw those javelins. And it means rather than being a throwing skill where you've got -1 per hex, it basically uses the ranged weapon. If I've read the rules right, it uses the missile weapon range banding rather than the thrown weapon range banding. So that is you can throw the javelins further. The idea being again that if you were holding back a bit, I could try and pick you off with some javelins before you got into combat. But again, didn't work quite so well because she came in quite quickly. It's kind of that gamble because I didn't know what your builds were going to be and how you were going to come at me. And the idea as well that they had a spear as well as a short sword, so that if you hadn't come so close, it was going to switch to the pole weapon basically and try and use that to help kind of fend you off basically, because that kind of bonus to charge and stuff. But again, you got in close before they had a chance to really swap weapons, so it didn't really come to pass on that one.
Yeah, that was kind of the plan there. That's why I didn't go with any armor. Like,
yeah,
so I could have given Arnold a bunch of armor and made him tanky, but I was like, he's not going to be able to move. He's not going to be able to get to the fight in time. And since I hadn't built anybody with anything ranged, I was like, I need to close the distance as soon as possible.
I see I went with the opposite. I went with ranged, and also because the idea was that the range would try and pick you off when I said a fast character, which I thought was fast, but not as fast as yours actually, to try and basically kind of help pin people if I needed to, and then have the bear as well, so do a bit of pinning potentially. But like I said, spell failed. So interesting to see the use of the tactics in the game. So
yeah, it was really neat. I'm glad we were able to get this in. And we've got the video so people will be able to see Fantasy Grounds. It's not Fantasy Grounds, Foundry. Sorry, we were talking about Fantasy Grounds earlier. Foundry, in case they have not seen it, it works with tons of different game systems. I didn't really open up character sheets on here, but I'll open up one here now just in case anybody wants to see how it looks. I didn't have mine fully filled in, but that's how it looks. And I'm assuming as a non-GURPS player, that is a pretty standard GURPS looking character sheet.
If you're on the full view one, it's a GCS. If you click on the sheet tab at the top, the one that looks like you can change it to the NPC mini one. That's what I tend to use for this one. So it's a bit more abbreviated. That tends to
I'm on the NPC mini one.
Yeah, so that's kind of abbreviated one. It's quite good for NPCs and stuff. We just want the prime things there. I mean, I did have a bit of a hack before version 10 of Foundry came out where I was using a PDF to do it on, which I think I've had some pictures of a blog around that one. But sadly, that functionality doesn't work in this version. But the small sheet kind of works. It is a bit of a hack, but the advantage I find is that because Fantasy Trip is very similar to GURPS, and that certainly what the stats are, I can just kind of port it over. Stuff kind of works. So it's quite good for putting things on it. So
I mean, it's like I said whenever I was talking about Wizard in the episode. You can very easily, if you wanted to, go and grab the GURPS spell book and just pull spells over almost like, I think there's a little bit of adjustment you'd have to do, but almost straight across and not have too much of an issue at all. The terminology largely stays the same. The costs might be a little bit off, but yeah, that was a lot of fun. So do you primarily play GURPS as your main game? Is that
so GURPS is the main one I've got experience with. I never really decided with the Fantasy Trip because I think I said this on the blog as well, that because of the slight differences around it, like things like the way active defenses and stuff work in GURPS, because you get active defenses like you roll a parry. Every time someone attacks, you can dodge, block, parry. Basically, it's a bit different in how the combat runs, whereas this doesn't have that same thing. You obviously have the abilities which you can use, like the parry things and stuff, to affect it. And so I was kind of, because I kind of thought of the Fantasy Trip as an idea of like an introductory kind of way into GURPS, because it's kind of very similar in how the things work, but the combat is subtly different. And so I did always sort of debate about whether do I do a simplified version of GURPS to teach people, or do I use Fantasy Trip, which is already kind of written, if you know what I mean, rather than having to hack it myself and kind of do like a summary rule system basically for it. And I kind of bounce around, but I think because there's not a massive crossover weirdly between GURPS and Fantasy Trip. There are some people who play both, but there's very much, it's interesting, there's like a big split really in the community in a way. It's not like, which when I thought about it, isn't really much different, I guess, from people who play basic D&D to AD&D. It's probably a very similar split in that one as well, where you don't get many who play both, but there are some out there who do. But it was interesting to see kind of how that split sort of exists. And, you know, I kind of get it in a way because they are different animals, and they're very closely related. They are very different systems. And I can see why some people maybe do prefer one to another, and they kind of probably stick with the one they prefer. And so part of me does kind of quite like getting to know the Fantasy Trip a bit, just to get to know its foibles a little bit more. There was another person who plays both, and he says the only problem with that is that when he plays GURPS Fantasy Trip, he has to try and remember in his brain which one he's playing. Because if you switch to AD&D, you just switch to it, you just know it, because it's D&D, it's very different, you just kind of remember. Whereas because it's so similar, it's a bit confusing for him. So.
Yeah, that becomes a big problem. Well, not a problem, but it's a common issue in like if you're a person who plays OD&D or AD&D or
Yeah.
basic D&D, the rules are similar enough that but you still get people that will assume a rule is one way because they're remembering it from the other
Yeah.
game, especially for a lot of folks that played basic and had like the DMG
Yeah.
as they were growing up. So like they were learning both systems and playing them
Same
both
time.
combined anyway.
Yeah.
And so you see a lot of people that assume the rules are one way just because of how their memory of the two systems kind of confluting over top of each other. But
well, but it happens to me as well. I mean, I've played everything from, I mean, I've played some first edition AD&D now, but I started with second edition and I worked all the way through all of them up to fifth. And I still sometimes forget when I'm playing editions which rules are from which ones. I'm trying to remember when I'm playing it. You know, how does that work? Do we have like talk opportunities in this version? You know, what bonus does this give you? So it's one of those,
I learned of this game, the Fantasy Trip, from there's a YouTuber named Jim Murphy. He goes by Game Methuselah or something like that.
Okay.
But he used the Fantasy Trip for all of his D&D gaming. Like, so he that's just what his system was. And he showed, like, I'm a big fan of using index cards for character sheets and stuff.
Yeah.
And so he was showing off his GM kit, and he goes, I carry around everything I need in one index card box. And he was pulling out cards, and he pulled out this one for a character sheet, and I was like, what the crap game is that? That's interesting. And did some more digging, and I was like, oh, that sounds like a really cool game. And I was like, it's an OSR GURPS. I'll have to check that out. And I ended up buying the giant huge box. But I haven't gotten to play with any. But you're the first like other human I've ever actually played any of this with. So I'm just messing around with it in like, solo or something. But
I think I stumbled across this via Jay Webster's podcast, I want to say, but I know I got into it because of Douglas Cole, who runs Gaming Ballistic. He does some supplements for GURPS, the Northland series he does, which is like a sort of Viking-esque setting. But he also, because he got the license from Steve Jackson Games, he does GURPS Fantasy Trip supplements as well. So he does a lot of solo adventures. So basically I stumbled across his solo adventures for it, which is kind of what I tried to do the first time. And I actually found it difficult to learn it with the solo adventures. I mean, they're a lot of fun. They are good because they're like the choose your own adventure ones. You do things, you move to like, go to paragraph 126 and stuff, and it's that kind of programmed adventure kind of way. But the issue is that you're kind of trying to learn the game playing against yourself, which isn't always the easiest. I think it's quite good to play against somebody else sometimes, because then they will throw stuff that you're not expecting, and then you learn rules you wouldn't expect, because obviously you only know the rules whereas they know rules you don't, and you learn quite well, I think, through thinking, oh, I didn't know about that rule. You just got me with that random fencing ability, which I could remember about, which I would have given to my swashbuckler had I remembered it was there. But it's stuff like that really helps to me anyway, reinforce that kind of gaming and by learning the style of play.
Yeah, I was going to say the nice thing about it, I think, is what kind of appeals to me of the Fantasy Trip and GURPS too. But I've never dove into GURPS because it's always seemed daunting for whatever reason. But while I don't like the whole build idea, like, as a GM, I hate the idea of players going off and like planning out builds for years and years in advance. But I do like the lack of class, like the fact that it's just a magic user or a melee user, and even then you can still swap back and forth a little bit. I like the flexibility that you can have from a storytelling standpoint with that.
Well, I mean, total tangent to what we're playing, but one of the first things that I kind of liked was, which kind of led me down the path of other systems from D&D, was Rollmaster of all things, which is still a class system, it has to be said, but it brought in this idea that in Rollmaster, even if you're not a wizard, you could still learn the spells, and you could learn to cast, and wizards could learn weapon skills and stuff. And that kind of really blew my mind, having only played AD&D kind of before that point. This idea that you could actually play something outside of a class system. And again, I think I'm the same with things like GURPS and the Fantasy Trip. It's the idea that you kind of taking it away from the class thing and building a bit more, but you do kind of design the character how you want it to be. It gives you a bit more flexibility around it. And I'm never going to lie, GURPS is quite daunting, especially when you come to it. The thing is, it doesn't need to be. I always feel like it's really badly marketed, GURPS, because they kind of throw you this giant, massive base set, and I get why they do it, because they want to show you everything it can do. But the problem is they are showing you everything it can do, and therefore you're kind of a bit swamped by all the rules. But as people will say, at its core, it can be fairly simple, but that's easier said than demonstrated, I guess, in a way. So,
I will say, if you've enjoyed some of the solo stuff from Fantasy Trip, what was it? It was Meta something was the name of the company that owned
Metagaming, yeah.
Metagaming. They had licensed it out, between the time that Steve Jackson left them and before he won it back,
Yeah.
they had licensed it out, and there was another company that was making all kinds of basically fantasy trip knockoffs in different genres. Like there was like a basically a fantasy trip in the Old West and a fantasy trip in space and stuff like that. I forget what those games are called right now. I'll see if I can find it and send it to you.
I'll have to track them down, because interestingly, I was tempted to do that when I was alluding about the fantasy trip. I thought, I wonder if I could hack this a bit and have like a sci-fi fantasy trip. So if someone's already done it, I'll definitely want to nosy at that one.
Yeah, I'll see if I can find that for you and send it over. But I do need to wrap up though. It's coming on to the 7 here. It's you're over in the UK. It's good.
Yeah, it's
real late
over
for you.
now.
But thank you so much for setting this up. This was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you for the game. I really enjoyed it too. And I shall speak to you again soon.
All right, sounds good. Thank you very much. Take care.
Bye.